I mean, Omarosa yesterday on Bethenny.
Oh, I forgot.
I do kind of want to say what theirs is, but
let me just go on record by saying, even though I am not a fan of Omarosa, let me just say, when she said to Bethenny, no shade, but shade, when she said, I am a strong African-American woman, it's because you can be mediocre and, something to the effect of how she can
still get everything that's been given to you.
Whereas we have to be
extraordinary to get
exceptional,
just to get a little bit of something.
I was just like, this is true because
But there's another way to say that.
Without degrading, because to me, even though she said I'm not trying to say you're mediocre, I still feel like she was still trying to take jabs.
This is what gets me about Omarosa. As smart and as intelligent as she says she is, and I know she has the resume to prove it, there is something to be said about decorum. There is something to be said about having grace. And you were brought on, even though you were paid to be there, you were brought on someone's show, and to in any way imply or infer that she is mediocre, or even her race, or whatever the industry, whatever you're trying to paint, that wasn't the right way to say it. She should have took a pause and said, basically, I know for me as an African American female, I've had to work so much harder just to get what someone gets, for giving less effort. Without saying anybody's name. There's a way to say the same thing with some grace and some decorum and some elegance. Because I believe when Omarosa wants to be a very effective lady, she can pull that lady card out and make you go, wow, I sat in her presence and she was just awesome. You can also sit in her presence and go, she really grated on my last nerves. Because I know the fiance she was in love with, he saw the lady in her every single time. And she showed him the lady in her every single time. I think this other thing she does in the media is a little bit playing into the villainess that we've come to love and expect of her. I don't think it's the whole totality of her. I think she's putting on a little bit of a show. A little tiny bit of a show. Because she did some jabs in there that you said to yourself, now I know she knows it's going to spark a powder keg right there of that audience.
Yeah, this is true.
It's like part of you is saying, okay, how much of this is really her and how much of this is her playing the game? Because remember about the whole Jessica Simpson thing? People said, oh my gosh, she's so ditzy. And you kind of realize she's not as ditzy as she played around on that Newlywed show. She was playing the role.
Like the typical dumb blonde, but she wasn't even dumb.
She wasn't even. And part of me thinks that's what Omarosa is doing. Sometimes she gets in these venues and things, and she knows in order to have a little bit of spin develop around her, a little more media coverage and more people talking about her name in these different outlets, you have to do something a little different, turning up a little notch. Because she's a very smart lady. I do believe she's right. Part of her brand is being smart. She is smart. But I do believe there's another side of her. Like she says, she does things for kids. I know she does stuff for kids. And I know the guy she fell in love with is not a stupid man. Her fiance was a very smart man. And he saw a side of her that we'll never get to know of. But does she have this other side she can kick in when she wants to? Her default, she has a default she can kick into when she's ready to. That's defensive. Some people will call it dark and twisted. I love that. Some people would call it her dark and twisted side. But she made her money as a villainess. She did. And how can you totally separate yourself from what made you famous if you're trying to still stay famous? You have to play that card a little bit.
Well, famous or infamous?
Fame or infamous for her? That's what Bethenny was saying. Bethenny's saying, I don't think you have a brand, I think you're more infamous. There's not too many reality show stars that have a one brand name recognition. Snooki has it, Bethenny has it, Omarosa has it, Nene has it. Some people you can just say their name and you know it conjures in your brain exactly who they are. She has that. Let's face it. I can say Omarosa and people know I'm talking about the chick that was a little over the top on the Apprentice that everybody was not liking. Now, if she ever wants to expand it and make it something different, she can. Because Bethenny went from being a chef to being so much more now. You know? So I think you take with your brand and you do what you want to do with it. The emotional maturity of Omarosa. I've seen her under the stress of her fiance passing. I've seen glimpses of that on different shows. I think when it comes to things that pain her or hurt her heart, she's very much I don't know. She's very much. It's hard for me to assess. I can't assess it yet. I haven't seen her under stress. She hides her stress.
My thing is, she's a good hider because she'll lock everything up. But then the only side that we see in public is her just being defensive all the time and always mad at people. And I'm like, why is she always mad? Gotta be on defense. That's why whenever I found out she was engaged, it's kind of like, whoa, because we don't never see that side, so we don't even know. We just assume she's always mad all the time, but she's probably not.